Has Garmin finally made a proper Apple Watch competitor? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Firstly, I'm in a completely different location to normal. This isn't my studio, obviously. I'm in a city somewhere in the world. It's very early in the morning, so excuse the croaky voice. So it's one of those videos where I want you to guess where I am in the comments. I actually want to talk about two watches today. The first one is this, the one that I'm not wearing. It's the Garmin Fenix 8. And the reason I want to talk about it very quickly is because I've been wearing it for the last nearly 2 months, I think. And every time people see it, they say, "What watch are you wearing?" Well, it's this, it's the Fenix 8, and a very quick review. Buy it. If you want a Garmin watch, a traditional round Garmin watch, I think the Fenix 8 is the one to go for if you have the budget, because it looks great, it does all the Garmin stuff, it's brilliant. There you go, don't go anywhere. The reason I don't want you to go anywhere is because firstly, I'm a YouTuber and I want you to watch every second. That's weird. I want you to watch every second of this video, obviously, but secondly, because I'm here to talk about the Venu X1. The Venu X1 looks like the most Apple Watch, Garmin watch ever. However, like any device these days, it has some fantastic points and some not fantastic points. And equally, I think I've worked out who should buy it. Let's start as always with the specs, not all of them because this is a Garmin watch and there's loads, but the stuff that you need to know. It's got a 2-inch AMOLED display, which is Garmin's biggest ever. It's got scratch resistant sapphire glass on top of that display. It's made with a fiber reinforced polymer and a titanium case back. It's also Garmin's thinnest ever watch. I don't think it's their lightest, but it is 40 grams, which is pretty light for a smartwatch. It's got a built-in LED flashlight, 5 ATM of water resistance, a nylon strap included in the box, and you can change that if you want to, and a humongous list of activity tracking and health and fitness and all the stuff that you can do with a Garmin watch. If you go to the website, basically, I'll put a link in the description, the number of things you can track with this watch is overwhelming. The price? £679.99 in the UK, which is quite a lot of money. Before I get into the pros and cons of this thing, just a very quick note on comparing Garmin watches with Apple watches, which I've done on multiple occasions. The issue is that as soon as I do that, a fair few people say, this isn't a fair comparison. You shouldn't be doing this because they are completely different watches. And those people have a point. Garmin watches are, without doubt really, out and out fitness sports watches, which have, and I know Garmin people won't like this, but they have smartphone functionality kind of tacked on. It's not an afterthought, but it's added after all of the fitness stuff has been there for many, many years. Then you have the Apple Watch, which is arguably an out and out smartwatch. It's a computer on your wrist with, and Apple Watch people won't like this either, fitness stuff added after the fact. I know it's always been there, but Apple has been gradually adding to the fitness capabilities of the Apple Watch for quite a while now. In fairness, it's getting close to Garmin, but it's not quite there. Garmin prioritizes battery life and Apple prioritizes, I don't really know what with the Apple Watch. Let's get into what I like about the Venu X1, and the first thing is that slim profile. It's incredibly light, it sits very cleanly against your wrist, and it's one of those watches that you just forget you're wearing after a while. I know this matters to people. I know people who sleep with their watches on don't always want a great big chunky thing disturbing their slumber, and this thing does not do that. It basically melds into your arm, and like I say, it almost disappears. That display is fantastic as well. It's big, it's got very vibrant colors, it's got very deep, rich blacks and lots of contrast because of the technology that it uses. It's a lovely smartwatch display. One of the other things that I love about the Venu X1 will sound very obvious, but it's the fact that it is a Garmin. And the reason I mention that is because it doesn't look like one. It looks like an Apple Watch or another smartwatch with a square face, but it isn't. It's a Garmin, which means it's got all of that Garmin stuff built into it. And if this is going to be your first ever Garmin watch, you'll be amazed by what you can track with it. It's frankly hilarious. If you scroll through all of the activities and sports that this thing is compatible with, it's genuinely funny. As soon as I press record, does that give anything away? Then we have the battery life, which at 8 hours is immediately Apple Watch beating. However, this brings me to the things that I don't like about the Venu X1. And the first thing is that battery life. 8 hours is fantastic. However, if you turn on the always on display, which I do with every single watch that I get. That is the default thing I've done since 2019 when Apple introduced it with the Apple Watch Series 5, I think. You lose 6 days of battery life. 6 days. It goes down from 8 to 2. And I don't really understand why it's such a massive drop. And for me, it makes the watch difficult to live with because I've become so used to having that always on display. Like I say, for about 5 years now, to not have it. And people who don't use it, and I know there's lots of you out there, I'm sure you'll get involved in the comments. What it is if I'm standing here now, if I glance at my watch without turning my wrist, it's not on. It looks like it's dead. I have to go like that to get the time. No, for me, I have to have always on display on, and I can't lose 6 days of battery life just because of that. I have to include the design in my list of negatives because I've said for a long time that I love circular smartwatches, and Garmin makes the best, I think personally. This one isn't. It's square, it looks like an Apple Watch, and it's almost too stealthy at times. It doesn't look like a Garmin at all, which for some people, that may not be an issue. You may just want a very slim profile watch, but for me, it does lose some of the essence of Garmin. The software, it needs a refresh quite badly. Don't get me wrong, it's incredibly capable, it's fast, it's responsive, it does everything you could ever want a smartwatch to do, and a fitness watch, obviously. But it just looks a bit dated now. And for some reason, on the Venu X1, it looks particularly dated because it's Apple Watch-like, and Watch OS, to be fair, is still the best operating system on the market and looks the best as well. Then we have the price, and I think it's just a touch too I think it's just a touch too expensive. I think at $499, yeah, I think for a lot of people that would be a no-brainer. At the current price, it puts it out of obvious purchase territory, which means you've got to watch YouTube videos like this one to make up your mind. And that brings me to my conclusion. I think while walking around wherever I am, remember, start guessing, I've worked out what the Venu X1 is. It's Garmin's ultimate anti-Apple Watch watch. And for some people, that's enough. If circular watches aren't your thing, and if you've wanted an Apple Watch but you're a fitness person and you know that Apple doesn't quite have you covered in that regard, the Venu X1 actually makes quite a lot of sense. It's just not for me personally. The fact that you lose 6 days of battery life with the always on display and the software needing that refresh, it just puts me off the Venu X1 a little bit. But as always, guys, it's now over to you. Let me know what you think about the Venu X1 in the comments. Will you be buying one? Will you not be buying one? And why? And where am I? That's a clue.